Hello Underdogger, it's your boy Underdog Recapped. Before we start, warning, spoilers ahead. Today, we are going to recap an American sci-fi movie released in 2018, called Ready Player One. In a dystopian future, a young teenager sets out on a quest to win a virtual reality simulation, but soon finds out a cause that is much bigger than just winning a game. So, what would it be? Let's find out together, in a doggy-styled recap. In 2045, technology has transformed people's lives. 20 years prior, a massive global energy crisis hit and the environment became severely damaged. As a result, people heavily rely on virtual reality technologies as a way to escape their depressing realities. At that time, the city of Columbus in Ohio was the fastest growing city on Earth, since it is where technology visionaries James Halliday and Ogden Morrow built gregarious games and their famous product, the Oasis, which is a globally networked virtual reality world. In the Oasis, people's avatars could go beyond their wildest imagination. One of the regular users is an 18-year-old orphan Wade Watts, whose avatar is nicknamed Z. He lives with his Aunt Alice in a sprawling slum called the Stacks. Just like millions of people around the world, Z spends most of his time in the Oasis to escape from his reality, and his ultimate purpose is to win Halliday's Easter egg quest, a series of challenges created by Halliday upon his death in 2040. The quest winner will inherit Halliday's vast fortune in real life and a full control over the Oasis. In order to win the Easter egg, players must get through designated challenges and obtain 3 keys to open the gates that are scattered throughout the Oasis universe. Determined to win the egg, Z considers himself as a full-time gunter or egg hunter along with H, Dido, and Sho, his best friends in the Oasis. Z goes to a racetrack, which turns out to be the first challenge to get the first key. The group has been trying to finish the extremely challenging race for some time, and they have got some serious competition from the Sixers, who work for tech conglomerate Innovative Online Industries or IOI. Headed by Nolan Sorrento and supported by a group of Halliday scholars called oologists, the Sixers are tasked to complete Halliday's Easter egg quest so the IOI can get full control over the Oasis. Throughout the race, Z recognizes a girl named Artemis. Nearing the finish line, Z is stopped by Kong's attack and grabs Artemis, causing her to fall. Knowing that Artemis is upset, Z offers to get her motorcycle fixed by H. Z and Artemis argue about how no one has gotten past Kong in the racetrack. Z says that it is an unspoken rule, but Artemis says that there is no rule in the racetrack because Halliday hated making rules. Z is left infatuated with Artemis. At night, Z has a long thought about what Artemis said and wonders if he has missed something all this time that kept him from winning the race. The next day, Z goes to search for clues in the Halliday journals, an archive center in the Oasis that contains records of Halliday's personal life. Z views a scene that took place in the Gregarious Games office in 2029 where Halliday is arguing with an employee. The man pressured Halliday to create rules in the game in order to move forward, to which Halliday replied, "Why can't we go backwards for once?" Realizing something, Z goes to the racetrack. He intentionally goes to the rearmost part of the starting grid and drives backward. Just seconds before hitting a wall, Z's car slides into a tunnel underneath the racetrack, which allows him to drive throughout the racetrack without the challenging obstacles. He effortlessly gets to the finish line, making him the first avatar to finish the race and make it into the scoreboard. James Halliday's avatar Anorak shows up and gives Z the key to the first clue. Following Z's paths, Artemis, H, Dido, and Sho also finish the race and make it into the scoreboard. Due to his win, Z has become the most famous person in all of Oasis. Sorrento is still confident that the IOI could win the quest since they have much bigger resources, while Z is not even cleaned up, but slightly annoyed with Z's success. Thus, he orders his bounty hunter IROC to help him get Z off the scoreboard. The clue says, a creator who hates his own creation. A hidden key, a leap not taken. Retrace your steps, escape your past. And the key of Jade will be yours at last. Z presumes that the clue revolves around a part in Halliday's past that he would like to escape from. Hoping to get more answers, Z goes back to the Halliday Journal and meets Artemis. At Halliday Journals, both view a recording of the Gregarious Games office dated 6 days before the Oasis was launched. In the recording, they see young Sorrento working as an intern at the Oasis and Halliday telling Morrow about his date. Turns out, Halliday's date was Karen Underwood, who is none other than Morrow's wife. Z believes that Halliday had purposefully removed every mention of her except for the recording they viewed earlier. Driven by this fact, Z concludes that Halliday missed the chance to tell Karen that he loved her and that he was heartbroken. Before leaving the journals, the curator mysteriously passes Z a coin. Upon Artemis' invitation, Z goes to the Distracted Globe, a zero-gravity dance club. Knowing that Distracted Globe is the first club that Halliday built to entertain Karen's dancing obsession, Artemis assumes that it is the one being referred to as a creation that is hated by its creator. Receiving news that Z is in the club, IROC arrives and intercepts Artemis and Z's conversations. In regards to the phrase "a hidden key," a leap not taken, Artemis presumes that they have to take a leap to the zero-gravity dance floor to find something. They take a leap and have a dance challenge. Z reveals his real name to Artemis and asks her to meet in real life, but she vigorously declines to keep her privacy. Upset with Z, Artemis tells him that he is making them unsafe. Based on the intercept, IROC manages to find Z's real identity and presents it to Sorrento. On the following day, Z gets a message from Sorrento. Sorrento eagerly pursues Z to join the OI, but Z declines and says that he is likely to join if Sorrento is not in the OI. Angered by Z's condescending comments, Sorrento threatens to ambush his trailer. Panicked over Sorrento's threat, Z hurries to his trailer and tries warning Alice, but the trailer explodes before Z could get a hold of her. Before he could lament over Alice's death, Z gets abducted by an unknown man. Z awakens to find himself tied to a chair. Sitting in front of him is a young woman, who reveals that she is Artemis and that her real name is Samantha Cook. During an intimate conversation with Z, Artemis suddenly realizes something about the second clue. She concludes that the phrase "the leap not taken" refers to a kiss that Halliday did not make with Karen on their first date. Z, Artemis, and their friends go to the Oasis, finding out that the movie that Halliday and Karen watched on their first date was The Shining. Turns out, the second challenge is to find a key in the gory Overlook Hotel. Due to limited time, the group decides to split, but H finds his way alone. While getting carried away by a tidal wave of blood, H sees a picture of Halliday and Karen in a dance and informs the group. Then, they go to a ballroom full of zombies dancing and find a confused Karen in the middle of the room. Artemis jumps to the dance floor and asks Karen to dance, which Halliday did not succeed to do. With that, Artemis wins the challenge and is given the key to the third clue, which says if you know the answer ultimately, divide it by the number magic, and what you need, want and desire will be found in the fortress tragic. Before they could reach a conclusion, the Eoi ambushes the base, forcing Z to escape while Artemis is taken to the Eoi's office and forced to work in their rigs to earn in-game money for the Eoi. Upon escaping, Z meets real-life H, Dido, and Sho, who is actually a kid. The group gets into H's truck. H tells Z that the Sixers have partly deciphered the clue and found the challenge in Castle Anorak on Planet Doom. Turns out, the last challenge is to play a game. Determined to finish the last challenge and win the Easter egg, Sorrento requests IROC to activate the Orb of Osuvox, a magic artifact that could create an impenetrable dome to protect whatever's inside. At the Eoi's office, Sorrento is confronted by Z and Dido. They pressure him to get Artemis' rig address and steal Sorrento's rig password. To do this, the group fools him by making him believe that he is being threatened in real life, but they are actually still in the Oasis. After successfully stealing Sorrento's password, they hack into his rig and interact with Artemis. Once Artemis gets out of her rig, she goes to Sorrento's office and finds out how to destroy the dome. Responding to Artemis' request to build up an army to destroy the dome and fight the Eoi, Z broadcasts a message to all avatars in the Oasis, inciting their spirit to fight for independence. When he finishes the broadcast, thousands of avatars surround the planet Doom and attempt to destroy the dome. Remaining inside of the Eoi's office, Artemis joins the group in the Oasis as a part of the Sixers. She manages to destroy the dome and a war breaks out between the avatars and the Eoi, with Sorrento also joining the war. Z and Artemis barely escape from Sorrento's attack while Dido is terminated. Eventually, Artemis kills Sorrento's avatar and he is logged out from the Oasis, making the group able to proceed to the Anorak castle. In the real world, realizing that Artemis is still logged into the Eoi system, Sorrento searches for her. Knowing that Artemis is being searched, Z forces her to log out. She eventually escapes from the Eoi's office and gets picked up by H's truck. Back in the Oasis, Z gets to the planet Doom and finds that a Sixer has won the game, which turns out to be the Adventure. However, despite the win, the Sixer is still terminated. Recalling Halliday's initial announcement of the quest, Z concludes that the challenge is not about winning, but about playing. When Z starts to play the game, Sorrento and IROC confront him. Sorrento once again offers Z money and threatens to use the mass destruction bomb, Cataclysm, to destroy everything in the Oasis. Unsatisfied with Z's response, Sorrento activates the Cataclysm and all avatars are logged out. Convinced that he has destroyed everything, Sorrento is satisfied to see the scoreboard empty. Unbeknownst to him, Z is still in the Oasis since he has an extra life coin, the mysterious coin that he got from the Halliday Journal's curator earlier, So he continues to play the game and is live streamed throughout all Oasis channels. He explains that the challenge could not be completed even by winning. The player of the game is only required to search around in rooms for an invisible dot and take it to the main room. Just like that, the player will find the first Easter egg ever put in a game, the adventure's proud creator's name. As soon as Z completes the game, Anorak appears and gives him the last key. Meanwhile, Sorrento and his aides track H's truck. They intentionally bump into H's truck, causing Z to lose his balance and struggle to retrieve the key. When Z is about to sign the contract that makes Oasis his, he hesitates. He remembers the time when Halliday forces Morrow to sign a contract to kick him out of Gregarious Games, which became the biggest mistake of his life. Concluding that Anorak is only testing him, Z decides to not sign over the paper. Satisfied with Z's decision and confirming that it was just a test, Anorak then transports him to his childhood room. After receiving the Easter egg, Z goes back to the real world. Deeply moved by his encounter with Halliday, Z cries and kisses Artemis. Sorrento briefly threatens them with a gun, but is carried away by cops shortly after. Z is then visited by Ogden Morrow himself and lawyers from the Gregarious Games, who ask Z to sign his contract. Z decides to split the ownership among his friends. Turns out, Ogden Morrow has been disguising as the curator and he has been watching Z all this time. Z tells Morrow that the key to the quest is not Karen after all, but Morrow. Halliday's biggest regret was losing his only friend. The movie ends with the high five, the group now calling themselves, taking over the Oasis. They sign Ogden Morrow as one of their consultants, ban the OI, and shut down the Oasis on certain days so people can connect with each other in real life. Despite being a regular teenager, with strong perseverance, Z is able to find the deeper meaning that Halliday is trying to convey. We learn that there is no such thing as single player in real life, and to enrich our lives with real life connections with the closest people around us. Let us know what you think in the comment below. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you in our next recap.